Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. If you are new to my channel, hello, thank you so much for joining me. My name's Aaron, I am your master of ceremonies. On my channel you will see lots of car reviews, videos like this. I sometimes go to car events and I also film my own cars as well now and then. Anyway, onto the car in this video. This week I have the brand new SEAT Tarraco. So as always, I will take you around the car, talk you through the specification and give you my initial thoughts. So as always, I will start off with the outside design. Now the Tarraco is the first car to signify SEAT's new design language, and for me that is a little bit of a worry. Now would I say this car is ugly? No, I wouldn't. I think this car looks pretty good in my opinion, but compared to the rest of the SEAT range, I don't know, it doesn't quite do it for me. I think my biggest gripe is this front grille. I don't know, it just doesn't look SEAT to me, if that makes sense. Now yes, as I've said, this isn't an ugly car, but I think compared to the Leon, the Ibiza, the Ateca, the Arona, there's something about this car which is lacking for me in the design department. Now I know that is subjective and some of you may be thinking, what are you on about, Aaron? You are nuts. But I think my biggest gripe is the front end. I'm not a massive fan of the headlight design and the front grille. The rest of the car I do quite like, but I think if you were to remove the SEAT badge, I'm not overly convinced you would think this is a SEAT, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, like I said, design is subjective. So this car is available in 4 trim levels. You have SE, SE Technology, Excellence, which is what I've got here, and Excellence Luxe. Now I do believe there are 3 launch editions as well, but I want to stick with the core trim levels, I suppose. As mentioned, this is the Excellence trim level. As standard, I get chrome surrounds for the windows. Let me take you a little bit closer, give you a closer look. I also get 19-inch alloys, which I do rather like. I do like the design. I get LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, which you can see here, and you get front fog lights, but they are halogen. And at the rear you also get LED lights here as well, and the design is quite striking. You get this kind of visor look, well, not quite a visor, but I like the way how it goes all the way across the tailgate. Now this tailgate is automatic and it has something called the virtual pedal, so you do a motion with your foot and it opens. Now I will demonstrate it, however off camera I did try it a few times and I couldn't get it to work. Nope, which is kind of annoying because it was working this morning absolutely fine. Now it may be because the ignition is on. Right, now I just want to interrupt myself because I want to actually show you the virtual pedal in action. Now the reason why it didn't work a few moments ago, it was because the ignition was turned on. I've now turned it off, and if I give it a go now, wave my foot, yeah, there we go, easy peasy. So if your hands are full, obviously it makes your life a lot easier. Do the same to close it. You are presented by a few beeps so the tailgate doesn't crack your head open. Perfect, job's a good 'un. But if you don't want to faff about with trying to do a river dance, you do have a button here, and as you can see it does lift up automatically, but you can open it hands-free if your hands are full of shopping, which is quite handy. Now normally I would come to the boot later, but I'm here now, so I may as well talk about it. So as you may know, if you don't know, this is a 7-seater. So you've got 2 here, 3 here, and then another 2. Obviously the 7 seats aren't really designed for adults, but I will squeeze my way into there later, just for a bit of humour, just for a bit of what's the word I'm trying to think of? Just for your entertainment, I think that's the word I was looking for. Yes, entertainment. But yes, obviously when you have it in 7-seater mode, you do get a smaller boot. Now as the boot is, you are looking at 230 litres, which is okay. It's enough for day to day, I suppose. But obviously, if you want a bigger boot, you can, of course, fold down these seats. So you've got a button here, well, a lever, and then just literally push them down like so. And easy peasy. Now, once you've done that, you will get 700 litres, worth of space, which is obviously much more agreeable and much more usable. But if you want to go the whole shebang, you can of course fold down the middle row of seats. You've got a lever here, well, you've got a lever either side. It does require quite a firm tug, and they go down like so. Again, does need quite a firm tug, and the middle seats fold down like so. Once you have done this, you will get 1,775 litres worth of space. Now, as you can see, this folds down nice and flat, but the middle seats aren't quite flat. If I come around, see if I can get them to sit a little bit more flush. No, they don't. They do go down a little bit more, but they're not quite flush, which may be a little bit disappointing to potential buyers. Now, when you have the car in 5-seater mode, you do have a luggage cover, so you can keep your stuff in the boot out of view. So if I move my bags and whatnot to over here, you'll see underneath here you have a luggage cover which goes in there, and obviously you have this kind of vinyl material that slides across to give your belongings a bit of privacy, which is good for security, of course. Right, pop it down like so. Now we'll just double check. I don't think you get a spare wheel as standard. I must admit, I only took delivery of this car yesterday, so I'm still getting to grips with it. No, you've got a tyre repair kit, which is quite predictable in all honesty. But let me pop that back like so. Now let's talk about the main competitors for this car. So one of the biggest competitors actually comes from one of its siblings, the Skoda Kodiaq. Don't forget, SEAT is part of the Volkswagen Automotive Group. Therefore, one of its biggest rivals will be the Skoda Kodiaq. You've also got the Volkswagen Tiguan Allspace, the Peugeot 5008, and the Honda CR-V. Don't forget, the Honda CR-V is available as a 7-seater as well as a 5-seater. Right. That's the outside covered. I've covered the boot. Let me step inside. Before I do so, let me just pop these rear seats back up like so. A little bit tricky to do one-handed, but it's not too much of a faff. Now, whilst I'm doing that, let me talk you through the prices. So the starting price for the Tarraco is £28,550, which, to be honest, is more expensive than the 5008 and the Kodiaq, but not by much. But obviously, if you're on a bit of a budget, then you may feel like the 5008 and the Kodiaq represent better value. Now, the car you are looking at is get your prices right, Aaron. It's £35,060. So, like I said, this is the Excellence model, kind of around the mid-range of the trims. So let me take you inside as I was going to a few moments ago. You get keyless entry as standard, but the car is already unlocked. Bear with me. Shh. Now that's because the ignition was turned on, so it was having a moan that I opened the door. So let me start by showing you the seats. So you get these very fetching fabric seats, which have got Alcantara on them and leather as well. They are quite pleasing to look at and equally pleasing to sit in as well. They are comfortable and supportive, which I do quite like. Now the inside, if I'm going to be honest, and I'm quite a fan of SEAT, but I do need to be impartial, the inside is a little bit boring. Now it's not offensive, but at the same time, it doesn't exactly wow me. Now, for those of you that are used to Volkswagens, obviously you will find the inside of this car is very familiar, and the same goes if you own a Skoda. Obviously, they are part of the same automotive group. But as standard, I've got an 8-inch touchscreen with DAB radio, Bluetooth, smartphone connectivity, as you can see here, and I've also got navigation. So let me rattle through the features. Right, gotta hit the radio button. Hopefully, it won't play. There we go, no copyright issues. Yes, fantastic. So yes, you've got the DAB radio like so, pretty standard stuff. And I think the SEAT touchscreen is fantastic. It looks, it's really well presented and it works very well. It's a very slick system. So I definitely think SEAT provides one of the best touchscreens in the automotive business. So that gets a massive thumbs up from me. That takes you through to the media. I've got no Bluetooth connected because the Bluetooth on my phone is disconnected. Obviously that's your phone controls, telephone not available. Well, like I've said, my phone isn't connected. That gives you your voice commands. This takes you through to the navigation, and it works pretty well. And you've also got a gesture. So as you can see, the kind of sub menu buttons have disappeared. But if I raise my hand up like so, you'll see they reappear, which quite a simple feature, but I do quite like it. By the way, if there is a little bit of blowing on the audio, I do apologise. I do have the climate control on because it is quite warm in the UK today. It's low 20s, so for us Brits, that's pretty goddamn warm. Obviously, if you're watching this in America or I don't know, Dubai, you probably think, well, that's just, you know, that's a winter's morning for us. But yes, for us Brits, that is quite toasty. But yeah, so you've got the navigation, it works well. That takes you through to the smartphone connectivity. So you've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and MirrorLink. That takes you through to the car settings. So no, this is more of the kind of info display. So as you can see, it gives you your MPG and so forth. Obviously my MPG is very low, but I've only covered 4 miles. I've just literally come straight from work, so that's why I'm in a shirt and trousers, and that takes you through to the main menu. But yes, it's a very crisp display. It works well. It's pretty responsive. Oh, there's no swipe function because it's just the main menu. That was a little bit stupid of you, Aaron. But yeah, like I said, I only took delivery of this car yesterday, so I'm still getting to grips with it. So yeah, just give you a real good look. Let's talk about the other features on this car. Now, this car's got nothing on it as optional. Even the metallic paintwork is standard. I didn't even mention the paint. So this paint is called Atlantic Blue, and I think it looks fantastic. Now, it is a little bit overcast today, so you can't really see it glisten, but underneath the sunlight, it's a really nice finish. So yeah, I would thoroughly recommend this colour, but obviously that's subjective. I also get a digital cockpit, so it's very similar to Volkswagen's active info display and the Audi virtual cockpit. Obviously the Audi virtual cockpit has got a few more bells and whistles on it, but you would expect it to have because you have to pay more money for it. But yes, you have the digital cockpit. I'm pretty sure that's the branding name for it. And you can change the views like so. You have a button, marked view, quite very self-evident. Come on, autofocus. So you can have it so it's just the dials like so, or you can have it like this, gives you more of your driver assistance systems. I actually quite like this view, and you've also got buttons here. So once again, autofocus, do your thing, and you can scroll across to little sub menus that pop up in the middle. So that's driver assistance. That's a little compass. That is the Bluetooth. There are no Bluetooth audio player connected. That gives you your telephone functions. That's just general car information. That's obviously your speed, and we go back through to the driver assistance display. I've got automatic headlights, but I suppose that's not really revolutionary nowadays, is it? You've got front and rear electric windows, again not very revolutionary. I've got a DSG gearbox as standard. So we'll talk about the engine in due course, but I have a 7-speed automatic 7-speed DSG, which works pretty well. It's slick and seamless, so I've got no complaints. This car also has park assist, front and rear parking sensors, a reversing camera. Can I show you that, or do I have to have the engine running? No. So there we have the reversing camera. The clarity is quite good. The picture quality is quite good as well, although it is a little bit grainy there, but normally it is a little bit better than that. Not the sharpest display, but it works well enough. And as you turn the wheel, the yellow lines turn as well, which again, like I said about the windows and the automatic headlights, isn't exactly revolutionary, but it's still handy all the same. So let's see. So you can change the views like so. Oh, this is all quite funky. Oh, look, got different views. You have it. Oh, you can change the colours if you want to. Oh no, that's changing the contrast. Sorry. Can you double tap it to get it to reset? No. That's obviously to change the brightness. And make it almost black and white if you want to. Not too sure why you'd want that, in all honesty. But yeah, there we have it. You've got 3-zone climate control, so obviously you've got dual in the front, and you also got climate control going to the middle as well. I've got different driving modes, almost forgot to mention those. So I've got Eco, Normal, Sport, Individual, Off-Road and Snow. So this car does have 4-wheel drive as standard. It's got the 4-drive system, as you can see there. And I've got flappy paddles on the steering wheel to support the DSG gearbox. What else? So I've probably missed a few things off in regard to the specification, because this car does come quite well spec'd up. But yes, obviously there will be a full comprehensive review of this car coming. This is merely a walk around, a chance for you guys to get a quick look at the car and my initial impressions. I kind of strayed away from it, but the interior design, one thing I do want to pick up on now, this may sound picky, but I do quite like this plastic trim here. My wife doesn't, for what it's worth. Not that I don't know whether you guys really wanted to know that, but yes, you do get this plastic trim here, which is quite similar to what I had in the Audi A1, and I think it looks okay. However, that doesn't really shout quality to me. Now, fair enough, you're not going to sit here when you're driving doing that, but for some reason it's the first thing my wife did when she got in as a passenger. She kind of touched it and then did that. So yeah, it's just the build quality doesn't seem to be fantastic, but overall the inside is a nice enough place to be. You've got soft touches here and there, and I do like the fabric on the door card. You've got leather there for better comfort, and soft touches there. But to me, the inside isn't quite as inviting as a Peugeot 5008. However, what I will say, the inside of the Tarraco is more ergonomic and it is more functional. The 5008 is a little bit fussy. It's not the most ergonomic, especially as you have got the smaller steering wheel. So I think when it comes to ergonomics, the Tarraco does beat the 5008. Let me talk about practicality. The door bins are of a very good size. I've got my sports bottle in there, and I reckon you can easily fit a 1 litre bottle of drink in there. You might even, no, maybe not 2 litres, but you can fit a big bottle of drink in there, I'm sure. And you've got a bit of space left over. It's quite handy. You've got a little cubby hole here where you can pop your smartphone or a few other smaller items. And in here, can't quite get the angle right, guys. Let me take you off my little handheld tripod. In here, you've got a 12-volt socket, two USB ports, and what I believe is an auxiliary port as well. You also get a CD player, which in this day and age does feel a little bit old-fashioned, but if you happen to be stuck in the 90s, then feel free, you have a CD player. And you've also got SD card slots in there as well. Whilst I'm here, let me show you the glove box. It's a decent enough size, not overly big, but not too bad either. Let me just adjust that, because I reckon you probably got a big gob of wind on my clip-on microphone there, for which I do apologise. You've got 2 cup holders in the middle. Now, at first, I looked at them and thought, hang on, how are they going to keep a cup in place? Because there's no kind of, there's nothing to stop the bottles flapping around. However, look at this. Looks like something out of James Bond. Okay, it's not really, is it? But you get my point. It's quite clever. It's quite Skoda-like, isn't it? So if I get my bottle of drink here, pop it in that one, and let's see what happens. As you can see, it clamps my bottle in place. Granted, my bottle can still move a bit, but the bottle is quite a slim design. But yeah, I quite like that. Quite a handy feature. Pop it back like so. Pop that back in the door bin. You've got a armrest in the middle. You've got an armrest, I should say, not a armrest, an armrest. Get your grammar right, Aaron. Which can be adjustable like so. You can slide it forwards, slide it backwards, lift it up, and pop it down like so. Inside, it's not the biggest compartment I've ever seen underneath a centre armrest, but it's big enough. You can pop a few snacks in there for a road trip. And of course, I've shown you the glove box already. You do get a sunglasses holder, which this may sound really geeky and really nerdy, but compared to some other cars I've driven, I've reviewed, this sunglasses holder is quite big. You probably almost get a pair of Elton John's glasses in there. So that is quite impressive. Well, it is for me. Right, let me step into the middle row. Beep, beep, beep. Yes, I know. Shh. let me step into the middle row so I can show you what the space is like there. Now, I'm actually yet to sit in the middle row, so it'll be interesting to see how I get on. Now, if you don't know, guys, get your words out. If you don't know, guys, I'm 6'2", so obviously I am a taller chap. The driver's seat has, of course, been set for me, so let's see how I get on. To begin with, it looks like I've got a good amount of space in which to step into, so let me do so. Oh yes, that is pretty agreeable. Let me close the door like so. If you're wondering why I'm wearing trainers with shirt and trousers, it's just more comfortable for driving. But yes, knee room is pretty decent. Leg room again is pretty good. I can fit my feet underneath the seat in front of me. It was quite good. What about headroom? Let's have a quick look. Hello, guys. Headroom is pretty good. I wouldn't say the headroom is amazing, but I've got enough, and I'm 6'2", so yeah, for the majority of people that will sit in the I almost said in the back. Obviously, this is the middle. You can tell it's not very often I review a 7-seater car. In fact, this is my third. So I have reviewed the 5008 and the Kodiaq, and now this. But yes, headroom is okay. It's not amazing, but it's enough for me. One thing I really like about the middle row, I think it is a very handy touch. You get tables. Now, this isn't an optional pack. As I mentioned earlier, this car's got no optional extras. So you have a little table which you can bring up like so. So if you go on a family road trip, or if you have people in the middle that want to eat whilst you're commuting or whilst you're travelling, or even if they've got a laptop or a tablet, they can use this table, which is quite handy. And you even get a cup holder. There we go. It slides out like so. Look at how practical is that. That is fantastic. Well done, SEAT. I do rather like that. I'm sure that will be very handy and very practical for many buyers. You've also got a USB port down here. Let me take you guys off my handheld mount once more. So USB port and a 12-volt socket, and you've also got the climate control functions as well. The door bins are of a good size. I reckon I could easily fit in my sports bottle with no real complaints. And like the door bins in the front, they are lined with fabric, which I do quite like. Could you fit 3 adults in the middle? Honestly, I think it may be a bit of a squeeze, although the middle seat isn't too slim, but you do have a sizable... Oh, sorry, my strap for the camera getting in the way. You do have a sizable transmission tunnel. So yeah, but I do think if you did have someone sat in the middle, there probably will be enough space for them to straddle that transmission hump with no real complaints. But if you don't have three people in the middle, you do of course have an armrest which you can make use of, and it has cup holders as well. So thumbs up for me. Good practicality, good for comfort as well. Right, here comes the fun part. So let me step into the rear. Now, obviously, the rear isn't designed for adults, particularly adults of my size, but just for a laugh, let's have a look to see how I get on. Oh no, I can't. I've got my... Sorry, hang on. Still got my blooming stuff on the rear seats, haven't I? Right, so yes, let me step into the boot. Step into the boot. You know what I mean? Well, I pretty much am stepping into the boot, to be fair. Right. Okie dokie. So now, obviously, this is a very extreme example, and some of you probably think I'm very silly for doing this. But yes, obviously, the middle seat has come back, and as you can see, I've got no leg room, and the headroom. Hello. Let me get the autofocus sorted. There we go. Obviously, I've got no headroom, but really, let's be honest. These seats are really reserved for children, and I don't think you'd get a teenager in here, not unless they're quite a short teenager. But yeah, I'm starting to get quite hot back here, so I will get out. Come on. Oh, right, and let me finish with the engines. Well, the engine, but I will talk about the other engines a little bit as well. Right, oh no, bonnet release is the other side, Aaron. Let me take you guys around. So, bonnet release is just in here. give it a pull like so. And lift up the large bonnet, which, that's actually quite heavy. So you have, come on autofocus, so you have a choice of 4 engines to choose from, 2 petrol or 2 diesel. As you can see, I've got TSI, therefore I have a petrol engine. Now representing the petrol contingent, you have either a 1.5 litre petrol, which produces 150 horsepower, or you have this, a 2 litre turbocharged petrol, which offers 190 horsepower. All of the engines are turbocharged, obviously. Most modern engines are turbocharged for better efficiency and performance and so forth. Representing the diesel contingent, you have a 2 litre diesel, which is offered in 2 power outputs. Now we'll walk you around the car so you don't have to keep staring at the engine, because that's a bad habit of mine when I do these videos. I just keep the camera fixed on the engine. I'm sure you don't want to look at it for a prolonged amount of time, so I will walk around the car whilst I carry on. So yes, the diesel engine is 2 litres and it is offered with two power outputs. You can either have it with 150 horsepower or 190 horsepower. Now the 1.5 litre petrol is mated to front wheel drive via a 6-speed manual gearbox, whereas the 2 litre petrol is 4-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive only, by the way. You can't have it in front wheel drive, and it can only be mated to the 7-speed DSG. Let me go around the other way, let me shake things up. The 2 litre diesel, the 150 horsepower unit, that can be mated to front wheel drive and a 6-speed manual gearbox, or 4-wheel drive with a DSG gearbox. And the 190 horsepower diesel engine is 4-wheel drive and DSG only, much like this 2 litre petrol. Right, let me return to the petrol. So as well as 190 horsepower, it offers, the torque figure has literally gone from my brain. I believe it's 325 Newton meters of torque. If that is incorrect, I will drop in a subtitle, but literally it was on the tip of my tongue, then it ran away, it went. In regard to performance, this car will hit 62 miles per hour in 8 seconds, and the top speed is 131 miles per hour. And I must say, this car does make progress pretty well. But what about economy? Well, on a combined run, this engine offers 31 mpg, so obviously it isn't the greenest out of the bunch. In regard to CO2, this engine emits 166 grams per kilometre, but I do believe that figure is from the old method of testing, the NEDC method of testing. So obviously those of you craving economy, and if you want a frugal Tarraco, I would urge you to have a look at the 150 horsepower diesel, because that does of course offer better economy. CO2 falls down to 129 grams per kilometre, and the MPG figure, don't quote me, but I believe it's 47 mpg, but that is from memory, and I am pretty confident I have got that one wrong. So again, that might be another subtitle. Going back to this engine, for the first year of VED, you will be required to pay £530. So obviously this won't be the best engine for economy, but if you want that extra bit of performance, it is worth having, although I imagine many buyers will probably stick with the 1.5 litre petrol, because even that offers a good amount of performance. Probably about time for me to wrap up. I know I have a habit of talking for a long time, and this will be one of my longer walk around videos, but obviously with it having 7 seats and a few other bits and bobs, it does take a little bit longer to go around this car. And look at the size of it, it's a big old lump, isn't it? But yes, time for me to finish. Now, in case you haven't seen, I have set up a new segment within my reviews. It's called Ask Aaron. The idea is very simple. I get you guys to ask me a question about whichever car I am reviewing in advance, and then when I go to film the actual review, I will try and answer your questions when I'm filming. So that's why I've done this video quite early on in my ownership. Well, my ownership, this car has been given to me for a week by SEAT, in case you are wondering, for me to review. So this video is coming up earlier than it would normally, so it gives you guys a chance to have a look at the car and also to submit questions to me as well. So normally when I film my walk around videos, I do it on the same day as I film the review, but I'm doing it a little bit differently this time around. So it gives you guys a few days to submit some questions for me, because I will be filming the review for this on Sunday, and this will go live tomorrow, which will be Wednesday when you watch it, but today is Tuesday. Oh, getting confused. But yeah, if you have any questions about this car, if there is anything I haven't covered in this video, please leave a question in the comment section. I won't answer it straight away, because I will hope to answer it when I film the review. So yes, any questions at all about the new SEAT Tarraco, please drop a question in the comment section below, or if you have any other queries, please do let me know. But anyway, it is about time I end. I have been talking for quite some time. My mouth is starting to become rather dry. So yes, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, or I hope you have found it of some use. If so, please like, subscribe and ring my bell so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.